I never thought a pie could humiliate me. Not a slap. Not an insult from a stranger. Not even poverty. But a pie, baked with my own hands, in my own kitchen, for my own daughter. Thanksgiving had always meant one thing to me: gratitude. Even when my husband died 12 years ago, even when bills piled up, even when I worked double shifts at the nursing home, I never let Thanksgiving pass without cooking something special. This year, it was just the two of us. Me and my daughter, Emily. Emily was 21 now. Beautiful, educated, confident, and lately ashamed of me. I woke up at 5 a.m. that morning. The apartment was cold. Our heater had been acting up again. So I wrapped myself in my old brown sweater and started preparing the pie. Not store-bought. Not fancy. Just pumpkin pie, my mother's recipe. As I mixed the filling, memories flooded in. Emily sitting on the counter at 6 years old, licking the spoon, laughing. Back when she didn't care what we had, as long as we were together. I whispered to myself, today will be nice. Just us. I was wrong. Mom, why are you making that? Emily came out of her room around noon. Designer sweater. Perfect hair. Phone glued to her hand. She looked at the pie cooling on the counter like it was trash. Mom, what is this? I smiled nervously. Pumpkin pie. Like always. She rolled her eyes. You didn't buy anything from Whole Foods? Or, at least a bakery? I laughed softly, trying to keep things light. Why waste money when we can make it ourselves? That's when her face changed. Not annoyed. Not embarrassed. Disgusted. She picked up the pie with 2 fingers. Mom, we don't eat poor food. The words didn't register at first. What? She walked to the trash can. I stood frozen. Emily, wait. She lifted the lid. This is the kind of stuff you eat when you've given up. I have standards now. And then, she dropped the pie straight into the trash. Silence is louder than screaming. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just stood there, staring at the trash can, as if my dignity was buried under whipped cream and cinnamon. That was rude. I finally whispered. She shrugged. You're too sensitive. Then she grabbed her purse. I'm going to Jason's family dinner. They actually do Thanksgiving properly. Jason, her boyfriend, rich parents, big house, country club, the kind of people who smile at you but look past you. At the door, she turned around and said something that still echoes in my chest. Mom, you should stop acting like we're poor. It's embarrassing. Then she left. That night, I made a decision. I sat alone at the table. No turkey. No pie. No laughter. Just me and the trash. I cried that night. Not because I was broke, but because my own daughter was ashamed of where she came from. I thought of every night I skipped dinner so she could eat. Every overtime shift. Every dream I buried so she could chase hers. And that night, I made a quiet decision. I would stop saving her from consequences. I would stop cleaning up messes she created. And I would let life teach her what I apparently failed to. I didn't know then. That 1 week later, Emily would be standing in my kitchen again, crying, begging, and wishing she had never called my food or my life poor. The house that looked perfect until it didn't. That evening, Emily arrived at Jason's house for Thanksgiving dinner. From the outside, it looked like a dream. A massive white 2-story home. Perfect green lawn. Luxury cars lined up in the driveway. Warm golden lights glowing through tall windows. Emily straightened her coat and thought to herself, this is where I belong. My mom's small apartment was just a phase of my life. The front door opened. Jason's mother, Mrs. Caldwell, stood there with a polite but cold smile. Oh, you must be Emily. No hook. No worms. Just a quick scan from her shoes to her bag to her hair. Come in. At the dinner table, the dining table looked like something out of a magazine. Perfectly roasted turkey. Crystal glasses. Expensive wine. Everything spotless and elegant. Emily smiled, but her stomach felt tight. Jason's father casually asked, So, Emily, what do your parents do? Emily hesitated for a second. My mom works at a nursing home. The table went quiet. Jason's aunt chuckled softly. Oh, like a caretaker? Emily nodded quickly. She works very hard. Mrs. Caldwell lifted her glass and said calmly, well, some people are comfortable living simple lives. Simple. Emily felt the weight of the word. For the first time that night, she realized respect at this table came with a price tag. The comment that cut deep. When dessert was served, an expensive chocolate souffle, Mrs. Caldwell smiled again. Jason tells us you grew up modest. Yes, Emily replied, forcing a smile. But I'm different now. Mrs. Caldwell raised an eyebrow. Different how? I don't live like that anymore. Jason stayed silent. Then Mrs. Caldwell said softly, background always shows eventually. Emily's face burned. These were the people she had chosen over her mother. What Emily overheard. Later, while heading toward the bathroom, Emily heard voices from the kitchen. Mrs. Caldwell whispered, she's sweet, but she's not our kind. Jason replied quietly, I know, Mom. It's only temporary. Temporary. Emily felt her chest tighten. The phone call the next morning. The next morning, Emily waited for Jason's message. Instead, her phone rang. Hey, Jason said, sounding distant. My parents think we should slow things down. Emily froze. Slow down? Why? They feel our lifestyles don't really match. So, because I'm not rich enough? She asked sharply. It's not like that, he said quickly. Then added, they think you're trying too hard to escape where you come from. The call ended. Emily sat on her bed, staring at the wall. For the first time, she remembered her mother's face, the pain in her eyes when the pie hit the trash. The truth finally hit her. Her mother wasn't poor. Her mother was honest. She had never looked down on anyone, never judged people by money or status. And Emily? She had judged the one person who loved her unconditionally. That night, Emily whispered to herself, if Mom were here, she would have smiled quietly. Because real class doesn't need money. Emily picked up her phone and called her mother. No answer. When pride costs you everything. Emily didn't sleep that night. Jason's words kept looping in her head. You're trying too hard to escape where you come from. By morning, her phone buzzed again. Not a good morning text. Not an apology. A breakup message. Emily, I think my parents are right. We want different things. It's better if we end this now. That was it. No call.
No explanation. No querí.
3 years of pretending to be someone else ended in 2 sentences. The fall begins. Emily sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the screen. Then reality hit. Jason had been paying for a lot more than she admitted. Half her rent, most dinners, weekend trips, even her phone bill. She opened her banking app. Balance, $214.37. Rent was due in 5 days. Her credit card was almost maxed out. For the first time, Emily felt something she hadn't felt in years. Fear. The call she didn't want to make. Her pride told her not to. But survival was louder. She called her mother. Straight to voicemail. Emily swallowed hard and left a message.
Mom, it's me.
I just wanted to check on you. Call me back when you can. She didn't mention Jason. She didn't mention money. She couldn't. The job interview. 2 days later, Emily walked into a high-end clothing store downtown. She had shopped there before. Now she was there for a job interview. The manager glanced at her resume. No retail experience? Emily forced a smile. I'm a fast learner. The manager nodded politely. We're looking for someone with a stronger background. Translation. You don't belong here. Emily walked out, humiliation burning her cheeks. By the end of the day, she had applied to 8 places. 7 rejections. 1 never replied. Eviction notice. On the 4th day, she found the envelope taped to her door. Final notice. Pay or vacate. Her knees went weak. She slid down the wall and sat on the floor. This apartment, the lifestyle, the image she had worked so hard to maintain. It was all built on borrowed money and borrowed pride. And now it was gone. The memory that broke her. That night, Emily stood in her kitchen. Empty fridge. 1 cracked plate.
She remembered the pumpkin pie.
Her mother waking up early, her shaking hands, her hopeful smile, and the trash can. Emily covered her mouth as tears finally fell. "I'm sorry, Mom," she whispered. The choice. She had two options. Call a friend who only knew her rich version, or face the woman she had hurt the most. Emily packed one suitcase. Not designer clothes, just basics. She stood at the door, took a deep breath, and dialed her mother's number again. This time, it rang. A flickering light. The door she was afraid to knock on. Emily stood outside her mother's apartment for almost 10 minutes. The same old brown door. Peeling paint.
Fadet väl kom mat?
This place had once embarrassed her. Now, it felt like the only safe place left in the world. She lifted her hand to knock, then froze. What if Mom doesn't open the door? What if she does, but doesn't forgive me? Finally, she knocked.
Once.
Then again. The door opened slowly. Her mother stood there. Same simple clothes. Same tired eyes. But something was different. She looked older. "Emily," her mother said quietly.
No anger. No accusation. Just her name.
That hurt more than shouting ever could. Emily dropped her suitcase and broke down. "I'm sorry, Mom," she sobbed. "I was cruel. I was ungrateful. I don't deserve to be here." Her mother didn't hug her immediately. She stepped aside and said softly,
Come in.
"You look cold." The silence that healed. Inside, nothing had changed. Small living room. Simple furniture. Clean but modest. Emily sat on the couch, staring at her hands. Her mother poured tea and placed the cup in front of her. "You can stay," she said, "but we're going to talk. Honestly." Emily nodded through tears. "I threw your pie away because I was ashamed," Emily admitted. "Not of the food, but of myself." Her mother listened quietly. "I thought money made people better," Emily continued. "But it only showed me who had none and who had no heart." Her mother finally spoke. "I never wanted you to live small," she said. "I wanted you to live kind." That sentence shattered Emily. A truth Emily never knew. That night, Emily noticed unopened envelopes on the table. Medical bills. Overdue notices. "Mom, why didn't you ever tell me things were this bad?" Her mother sighed. "Because I was proud," she said honestly. "And because I wanted you to fly, not worry." Emily realized something terrifying. While she was chasing a rich lifestyle, her mother had been quietly struggling alone. 1 year later, the same apartment, but this time, the table was full. Nothing fancy. Homemade turkey, mashed potatoes, and in the center,
A pumpkin pie.
Emily placed it down carefully, her hands shaking. "I made it myself," she said, using Grandma's recipe. Her mother smiled, a real smile this time. They sat together. Before eating, Emily stood up. "I want to say something," she said, her voice steady. "I once believed food could be poor and people could be measured by money." She looked at her mother. "I was wrong. The poorest thing in the world is forgetting who loved you when you had nothing." Tears filled her mother's eyes. Emily continued, "This pie isn't poor food. It's survival food. It's love. It's sacrifice." She took a bite and smiled. The lesson. That night, Emily washed the dishes while her mother rested. Roles had changed, but love remained. Some people learn lessons through success, others through loss. Emily learned hers through a pie thrown in the trash, and she never forgot it again.